Past the halfway point on the SportsMax zone for this Monday. We're going to cricket now. The West Indies' bad run in one-day internationals continued on Sunday when they went down by 6 wickets to Bangladesh at Providence in Guyana. The Windies were sent into bat and laboured to 149 for 9 in a game reduced to 41 overs. Barbadian Shamar Brooks top score with 33, while tailender Anderson Phillip added an unbeaten 21, and Shoreful Islam took 4 for 34 for Bangladesh. Now in reply, the Tigers cruised to 151 for 4, led by 41 from skipper Mahmudullah and 37 from Nazmul Hussain. Gudakish Moti picked up his first international wicket. Remember, he had played one test and one T20 before, but no wickets there. He had figures of 1 for 18 from 10 overs. Let's hear from the Windies skipper, Nicholas Pooran.
Definitely didn't have enough runs on board. I felt like anytime we get anything close to 200, 175 on that wicket, definitely be interested to see how the game played out. I think that we could have bowled a bit better as well in the power play. I think we're still learning as a team, we're still asking our spinners to get wickets, our new bowlers to get wickets for us. So, it's going to be a challenge for us, but we just need to keep figuring it out and finding ways to win cricket games, especially in ODI format.
Ken here to review Sunday's ODI. Guyanese journalist Brandon Corlett. Brandon, welcome back to the SportsMax zone. 9 victories in a row in ODIs now for the Tigers over the West Indies. How disappointing would Sunday's result have been for the fans in Guyana?
Hi guys, thanks for having me. It's pretty disappointing again, but some would have said that they were expecting that performance because West Indies in the ODI format, I think that's the weakest format for the West Indies.
All right, there was seemingly difficult conditions for the batsmen early in the game. The batting conditions appeared to improve as the game went on, and certainly when Bangladesh batted, it appeared as if the batting conditions were better. Would that be a solid enough reason to explain the West Indies' dismal batting display?
I think the rain was wrong and not a lot of preparations was actually given to the pitch. But again, these guys are international batsmen. You must adjust to the situation of the game, right, and dig deep. We didn't see much discipline actually from the West Indies. When you look at the strokes that got some of the batsmen out, I can recall Brandon King. He actually tried to force the ball over mid-off, right, rather than playing the ball on the ground. So I think it's about applying, batsmen applying themselves, and it's lacking, especially in the one-day international format.
And as we're talking about the poor batting performance, we have to give credit, though, to our tail enders, Anderson Phillip and Jayden Seales, for that fighting effort just to end the 41 overs.
Yeah, Jayden Seales and Anderson Phillip added 39 runs. So West Indies, they were looking at anything around 120 all out. But those guys actually, Anderson Phillip struck the first maximum of the match. So those guys actually give West Indies just a slight bit of hope, because we know the pitch wasn't suitable for batting. So the tailenders, as you guys mentioned, did something for the West Indies.
What about Nicholas Pooran's use of the bowlers? He himself was able to pick up 1 wicket.
Yeah, when you look at this West Indies team, actually it's an inexperienced team in terms of one-day international matches. Shea Hope actually is the leading one-day international player in terms of matches, 96 matches. And when you look at the bowling department, pretty inexperienced. Anderson Phillip, only 5 one-day international matches, Jayden Seales 4. So I think Nicholas Pooran, the pitch wasn't conducive to fast bowlers. So Akil Hussain, Gudakish Moti and Nicholas Pooran were the spinners in the team. So I think he actually trusted the spinners to do the job on this Providence surface.
As we get ready for the second ODI, of course, the same ground, the same conditions, do you expect any sort of changes from the Windies in their approach? Or based on your conversations with the team, because you're very close to them, do you expect that, they're going to do things differently?
Well, I actually think that the batsmen will have to apply themselves. And I think Kesey Carty, he might be given a nod. He actually played only 4 international matches for the West Indies, the batsman from St. Martin. So I think if there is some sort of change in the West Indies team, it will be Kesey Carty, and the approach from the batsmen must be different, because the Providence surface it's not the truest of surfaces in the world. It's not conducive for stroke play. The spinners will come again, and then the Bangladesh seamers will come with the cutters.
Right. George?
The fact of the West Indies' habitual poor performance in ODI cricket, I want to hear your perspective on what you think is the problem, why the Windies have been so weak for so long in the 50-over format.
I think it's the lack of application, George. I mean, when you look at the batting statistics for this current crop, right? Shea Hope averages 50 in 96 matches, right? And then you have Shamar Brooks in 13 matches, averaging 43. Then there is nothing else in terms of batsmen playing more than 10 matches, right? With a significant average. 50-over cricket, it's 300 balls. It calls for that extra bit of application. We see Rothman Powell scoring runs in the T20, right? And Nicholas Puran. But ODI format, it calls for that extra bit of focus and application. And I think the application and the adjustment, right, is needed for these batsmen.
Talk about the impact of our coaching on our approach and our results in 50-over cricket, because my theory is that I don't think, and the evidence supports my theory, that from a tactical perspective in terms of approaching 50 overs, especially when you're batting for the West Indies, I don't think that off the field, in the dugout, there is enough help for the captain on the field, in the fray, to assist the players to really bat out the overs, to really calculate their way to a respectable total, as we see almost every other top team do. And I think that all round, tactically, from the coaching perspective and from the captain's perspective, the West Indies have let themselves down over time with how they've approached ODI cricket. What say you about that?
That's a very interesting theory. But then again, the coaches can only do so much. I actually saw Monty Desai, Roddy Eswick and Ryan Griffith today at Providence. And only a few players turned out at practice. But these guys, they're actually, telling these players what is needed, the adjustments that is needed, to play on a surface like Providence. But then again, at the end of the day, it's up to the player to perform.
Another theory is this. What if, because I can tell you, I wasn't surprised that we lost this ODI, because I was saying to myself, all right, the West Indies beat Bangladesh in the tests, they beat them in the T20s. This is not a team that is used to dominating an opponent, and maybe there'll be some mental relaxation then to say that, well, we have the number of this Bangladeshi side, and if you're an elite athlete, sportsman or woman, and you take 10% of your usual performance, you're going to get a bad result. Could that be why they lost that Providence ODI, rather than the Bangladeshis just being better than them in this format of the game right now?
I think I would agree with that to an extent. West Indies came into this one, the international series, with that extra bit of confidence, having defeated Bangladesh in the Test and T20 formats, right? But then again, you cannot relax on a team like Bangladesh, especially in the ODI format. I actually had Bangladesh to win the first one, the international, because when you look at the recent statistics from Bangladesh, especially against West Indies, they're the much more stronger team.
Yeah, well, unlike you, I have Bangladesh to win the second as well, but that's just me, all right? Thank you for your time today. We'll talk again. All the best. Really value your contribution.
All right, thank you.
Good. Yep, so that's it. Break time here on the SportsMax Zone. Back with more after these.
Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news and entertainment.